Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to everyone. Ginny, would you take the roll? Austriaco?
Here.
Bessler? Here. Collins? Here. Coyle?
Here.
Lee? Sullivan? Owen? Here. All right, we have the Mencor Energy Savings Rebate Check presentation.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do this. I've never gotten a big check. Tonight we give it. Who's coming with me? Come on, President Elwin.
Do you guys want to know why we're getting the big check?
Mary, you walk me, tell us why we're getting the big check.
So as part of our boiler replacements at Maine West and Maine South, we participated in the Energy Smart program sponsored by Sticor Gas.
Come on.
Come on, Mary, you can talk.
You did all the actual work.
As a result of our energy savings and reducing our therm cost, NICOR has very generously presented us with a custom incentive of over $200,000 because that's how much we're going to save. So this is the gift that keeps on giving.
Absolutely. Wow.
Mary is using a lot of
Somebody cozy up. Does that mean we just turn the heat up in here now? Well, that could be found in the budget report. We want to see that. Okay, we're good.
Just one more.
I'm going to send in the building.
That's right.
Thank you.
I was about to say, I was assuming. Happy beer, thank
won't
you.
fit in the 18.
No, it won't.
What do we do with this?
We're gonna take some photos on some.
Okay.
Be yours to have.
Perfect.
Thank you very much for having us.
Okay, next up we have 207's Best Award for Technology Leader and Innovator. We're going to start with Maine West. Audrey?
Right, it's my honor to introduce to you Gareth Mehta, who is here. I use this quote to start off my recommendation for Gareth. It's by Stephen Jobs, which is also kind of a great connection to Gareth, given what Stephen Jobs has done and what Gareth has done. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower, and Gareth is definitely a leader at Maine West, not only in the area of innovation and technology, but he could have been any one of our 207's best. And I actually chose to surprise him with this one because he quite appropriately could have been the academic winner in months previous, extracurricular award winner months previous. So I think this one carries a lot of weight for the things that Gareth has done at Maine West, kind of behind the scenes, but emerging now that he's a senior at Maine West. So he's been coming to Maine West for 7 years, not because he's a super senior, but because he took all the math classes that they had available in junior high, and in 6th grade came to Maine West to start taking math classes at Maine West. He took, as a 6th grader, accelerated math analysis, and then moved on to geometry and trigonometry accelerated in 7th grade, AP Calc BC, which is our highest math class, in 8th grade. He got A's in all of those classes as a 6th, 7th, and 8th grader. And he was sitting in classes with juniors and seniors as a 6th grader. He then kept accelerating in all of his subjects during that time, and we found that his academic prowess is not just in mathematics, but it's in every single subject area. And he's taken the most difficult classes we had to offer since he started then as an official freshman. And now he carries a 4.9577 GPA, a 4.963 since I looked yesterday. And he's currently taking linear algebra at Oakdale Community College, which is a 200-level course in college. So, and actually he took Algebra 2 all the way back, not at Maine West, but he was in Algebra 2 as a 5th grader. So that you can see how quickly he was advancing through those subjects. So again, he could be the 207's best for academics. So let me get to some of the other areas as well. He's taken more AP tests than any other student at Maine West. He started as early as in 8th grade, achieving a 5 on the AP Calculus BC test, a 5 on the AP Biology test in 9th grade, 5s on 9 other AP exams throughout his junior year. This doesn't even include the AP exams he's going to take his senior year. He's gotten a perfect 36 on the ACT, perfect scores of 800 on the SAT Math 2, Biology, Chemistry, and Physics subject areas. And again, taking and receiving perfect 800 in Math 2 as early as 8th grade. But let's talk about innovation and technology. So he is the co-founder and president of our 3D Innovations Club. And you probably heard me talk about this 2 years ago, or a year ago, when we talked about the prosthetic hand that he and his sister in the 3D Innovations Club created and then presented to one of our students who was born without his wrist and his hand. A functioning hand was created and printed on our 3D printer at Maine West and was actually presented to me with a handshake at our honors assembly where Gareth had, behind the scenes, arranged for that hand to fall off as a joke, and it was then me shaking the prosthetic hand without Anthony. We put the real one on, and then Anthony was able to use that hand and was thrilled for the first time to actually be using that hand. Gareth has also been able to create a virtual tour of Maine West. So when you put on the goggles, you can see all of Maine West by sitting in a seat, and it goes around every single component of Maine West with little people in this virtual tour. And he's used members of our principal's leadership team to help with that virtual tour as well. He was involved with the parking lot redesign at Maine West, creating a parking lot simulation so that we could see what that would look like once we met with the architects to then make the changes that are now in place this year. He created the hashtag Hello World boot camp, which was last summer, where he brought in junior high students to learn coding. They worked with Gareth and other members of Maine West to learn coding, and then they did presentations in front of a very large audience as 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So it was really neat, and Gareth was not only teaching them coding, but also how to present in front of a large crowd, and they did a wonderful job. He's also created the Maine West app that I use daily. It includes every component of the website, but you can find it on an app that I have on my phone. It includes West Time, where you can click a button and see exactly what period of the day it is, how many minutes are left in that class period. Every single component of the website all in one app that, again, I use daily. It includes things like the library, Quest Food Service, AP Tutoring, the Chrome Depot. He's worked as a Chrome Depot employee for the last several years there as well, helping kids repair their computers. He's on the principal's leadership team, so I've known him since his freshman year. He's president this year. And as the president, he's done more there, and as president of the National Honor Society as well, he's done some really creative, innovative things, including getting a greenhouse started. A former year membership had tried to get it done, and they weren't able to do that. Not only is the greenhouse running, they're having their first plant sale this spring, and he's utilizing special ed students to work with them to sell those plants and learn about customer service, et cetera, and that was Gareth's leadership. I know that I've been talking for a long time, and we're supposed to keep these short, but I need to read this really impressive list as well, all the other things that he's done as an innovator and creator at Maine West. He's the Westerner co-editor-in-chief and digital media editor, so he's created the website for them. He's the Summer Reading Club founder and chairman. He's the math team oralist, and he's also a state qualifier in more than one event. He's on the Scholastic Bowl, he's captain and MVP and a record holder. He's a junior senior leader, tech genius, class student council member, and he maintains their website. He's a Quill and Scroll member, Pi Sigma Pi Honor Society, National Honor Society president, Honor Guard, Student Activities Leadership Team, AP Certified Tutor, AP Student Leadership Team, Poetry Out Loud finalist, a Math Kangaroo Perfect Score, DAR Good Citizen Award, American History Scholar, a Coach Tutor of the Semester, Biology Olympiad. He's the first Maine West student to advance to the semifinals. He's a National Merit finalist and recently honored as a scholarship winner. You should have just received that letter in mail, by the way. Warrior Pride mentor and leader, transfer student and ambassador, retirement home volunteer, and he also does piano and violin on his own time. And I can't forget, he also arranged, as a technology innovator, the senior citizen technology classes over at the Senior Center to help senior citizens learn how to use their computers. had great attendance there, and they want him to keep coming back with other National Honor Society members. So clearly, Big Aerith is an awesome student, awesome technology innovator, someone who I have come to trust and enjoy as a leader at Maine West because he's absolutely phenomenal. So he's already been accepted to Brown, Carnegie Mellon, Harvard, Stanford, Harvard Mudd, U of I, and Purdue. Any one of those schools would be fortunate to have him there, and now it's just up to him to make that decision. So, I've been talking for a long time. That's Big Aerith, Meta 207's best in innovation and technology. So tell us who you have with us here today.
My mom and my dad.
And what are your plans, and Mr. Hassman?
Oh, Mr. Aston, yes.
And his teacher, Nate
Mr.
Hassman.
Pincelius.
Yeah, Mr. Panzelius, yes. And what are your plans? Do you know where you're going to go, and do you know what you're going to study?
No, I'm still deciding between Harvard, Stanford, Brown, and Carnegie Mellon. I'm planning on studying computational linguistics and applied mathematics, particularly natural language processing and the applications of machine learning to apply towards assistive learning devices.
Oh, by the way, he's a published author as well on Amazon. You can look at him.
Look on computational linguistics.
In competition, computational poetry.
We're very proud of it.
That's here, hold on a minute. So, Barbara's mother, Prime, is on my community right-here council, and I just got inspired. Would you take my children and let them live with you? So, just see how it goes. I clearly have failed.
Okay, so we're gonna move along to Mamie's.
All right. Well, everybody, I am very pleased to introduce to you Akash Magnadia. So Akash, over 4 years' time, has earned a reputation for being insightful, analytical, self-motivated, meticulous, tenacious, thoughtful, kind, and reliable. And all of those fit based on my own experience and having done work with him for about 3 years, and some really great sort of testimonials that I received in the last few days about his work. He began school as a freshman at Maine East and was in the ELO program. And he distinguished himself not by letting that challenge of learning a new language interfere with his own academic opportunities or success. So I mean, he really had pretty limited vocabulary as a freshman, but really was striving to exit the ELO program, and by sophomore year had successfully done that. Earlier this year, he provided a statement. He said, I struggled to learn in high school during my freshman year because I had a limited knowledge of English, but I learned to push forward, motivate myself, and get out of my comfort zone. As a result, I got out of ELO my sophomore year, and by senior year, I was enrolled in 3 AP classes. He's worked hard to build his language fluency, and this year is taking AP Calc A, B, AP Computer Science A, and AP Physics C. Additionally, over the last 4 years, he's taken Project Lead the Way, Intro to Engineering Design, PLTW, Computer Integrated Manufacturing, Intro to Tech, Robotics, Geoconstruction. I'm going to he's got a number of things that he's been active, but some of the things I'm not going to allude to as I kind of read teacher comments. He's been the team captain of the golf team, he's a member of NHS, he's a member of the Tech Genius Club, where he's focused on application of technology around the school. Again, we have a school app in development. He's been active in Rotary Interact, where he has also provided leadership for a digital literacy project, where we've been working with seniors in the community for the past 2 years in an ongoing process to help them build some literacy in terms of using computers, social media, that sort of thing. And he served a full-year internship at New Way Industries, a metal engineering firm in Des Plaines, where we work with design engineers to use SolidWorks software. Jackie Pauly is our internship coordinator and shared his end-of-the-year sort of employee review, where he got high marks all the way along, and I think they would hire him like that if they had the opportunity to do so. Not only for his knowledge of what he did, but for his soft skills and the fact that he really is, I think he embodies the mindset that we really would like to see in all of our students, in that he loves to learn. So when he finishes the project, there's not the notion that I'm going to, okay, I'm done with that, now what do? It's going back and figuring out how to make the product better as he works through it. So when I put out the call for nominations, had almost immediate responses from 4 teachers. This is very dated reference, if you remember, like E.F. Hutton, people listen. So I got immediate responses from Dave Schultz, Tom Kaiser, Will Greenwald, and Jan Wazorek, who's actually a South teacher now, but is our robotics club sponsor. And those are 4 people that I have great respect for in terms of what they do in the classroom and their work with students. So Dave Schultz offered the following description of Akash's work process. That I've been his physics teacher for 2 years now. However, my real endorsement comes from 2 extracurricular activities that Akash is involved with, robotics and the Argonne Exemplary Student Research Program. In the former case, although I'm not a sponsor, I pretty much see Akash on a regular basis because they often work in the classroom next to mine. Akash is almost always at the end of a wrench or screwdriver trying to make things work. More than this, I really see him as a leader of other students, helping direct their energies toward getting a robot built, a t-shirt launcher operational, etc. He has great problem-solving leadership skills in his area. Since I sponsor the latter activity, the Argonne Research Project, I am more directly involved with Akash and rely on his skills. This year, he has really been the driving force behind his team's development of a magnetic field device that we just used this last Saturday at Argonne Lab to test nanoparticle solutions. Akash combines smarts with hands-on skills with flat-out awesome enthusiasm. I know that tech leader innovator may conjure up images of a Google guru, but I think it should also include the tech that goes along with designing, building, and refining working prototypes and apparatuses. Akash is certainly becoming quite accomplished at these things. He also displays an infectious enthusiasm and positive leadership around his peers. Tom Kaiser, on the CTE side of things, said, I'd like to speak to the growth I've seen in Akash as a CTE student in the last 3 years. As a freshman, he was excited to gain skills in drafting and design. Here, his interest in engineering was expressed through his use of technology, specific through the use of Inventor, our 3D modeling software. Once he was in the computer integrated engineering course, he was able to apply his technological literacy and design to creating prototypes on our computer numerical control machines, including our CNC mill and router. Now, as a senior, he's designing, building, and troubleshooting a robot to compete in the Skills USA Urban Search and Rescue competition. He's using the technological design skills and knowledge he's gained over the last 3 years to create and fabricate original parts for the robot. I'm excited for who Akash has become and what he will accomplish. Will Greenwald said, I've known Akash for the last 2 years, had him in my class both semesters this year. He's a true technological innovator because he's not afraid to fail. During this fall in robotics, Akash attempted to go beyond the build to develop and engineer solutions that brought better outcomes and significantly greater complexity that benefited everybody in the class. In programming this semester, Akash has been working with Raspberry Pi computers to build and code a variety of projects. His latest projects focus on mastering how to write code that allows Raspberry Pi to affect how motors function based on different user inputs. This project has required Akash to work through a number of hurdles that would have caused many students to quit on the project. Instead, he's done research, found hardware and software solutions that he's attempted to implement, at times with success and others with failure. I believe he's learned as much from the failures as he has from the successes. Akash is inquisitive and always wants to know why and how something works. And finally, Jan Wazorek, robotics team coach, said, Akash is a great kid who is super enthusiastic about technology and learning as much as possible. I've known him for 2 years as a robotics coach. He completely oversaw the building of the t-shirt gun robot used at assemblies. Very cool. So we distributed t-shirts on our opening assemblies. No casualties. He most recently participated in the hackathon at Maine South, where I supervised. He was one of a few groups that worked all night relentlessly to try to build a program, and program a Roomba-like robot. He has a passion for everything that is technology. Currently in robotics, he's spearheading a team to try and build an R2-D2 replica robot. I would say, in terms of my work, he is, again, just a kind, decent, smart, very, very thoughtful individual. A number of teachers have had it in the past. I've had a teacher for a couple of years, so he'll stop by, think about a technology recommendation for something that he knows they're doing in the class. So I mean, he's just one of those guys that I think is doing a lot. As I've sometimes said in the past, I don't think we'll completely know everything he's doing until he's not there doing it. And we think, okay. Yeah, very, very proud of him. He's accomplished a great deal, and no doubt that he's going to do great things in the future. Congratulations.
father and father.
We have 3 generations present. And what are your plans next year?
I'm planning on going to USC and studying computer science.
And I understand Maine South, not tonight, will do that.
Yeah, they're out of town.
next month. Right, okay.
How
So,
lucky are we?
yeah. I feel we're gonna be reading about you later someday, so come back and visit. This is your chance to go out with your principals and have photos taken. And you can also leave the business part of the meeting, if you want to.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Good night.
Have a good night.
They're out of town.
traveling. Because why not?
Okay, do we have any public comments? Okay. Updates from the superintendent, Ken?
I have none, we just got a big check, although I will say Mary Clue used a lot of possessive pronouns today, more so than I normally hear her use.
Okay.
She doesn't know what that means, but everybody else does.
Updates from board members. Any updates?
Just a couple. One, I just wanted to share, Jen and I went to the North Cook Division meeting, and I'll pass these out. What I wanted to share was that it was a really, it was well done, a very well done presentation by Frantic, who did, I forgot the 2 lawyers who did it.
Ryan Crowley, who we do a lot of work with, and then Nikki Brazier.
Yeah,
basically.
and they both did the presentation on First Amendment and public comments, and it was a really a good reminder on what board members have to remember when we're having a meeting. So I just wanted to share that note with you and tell you that. And then the other thing is that McCaff is having a town hall meeting on Wednesday at Maine South in the principal conference room. Our teens are doing it on drug and alcohol awareness, and it's from 7 to 9 in the evening. So if you can put that on your calendar to come and support them, it would be wonderful. Especially in light of the legalization of marijuana, which was recently passed. You know, the recommendation, the referendum item.
Oh, the Cook County?
The Cook County, it's an interesting topic, and the teens are going to talk about it. It's Wednesday, April 4th, from 7 to 9.
Also, just want to quickly echo the school that we went. That was pretty impressive. So very modernized, high tech, and also the program that they offer was quite impressive. When we had a tour, they have a nursing, they have a the entrepreneur business classes. They also have the cooking chef classes too. I don't know if you have that or not. So they have like every hour students comes in, participated, and so on. So it was quite very interesting and fascinating. So great to be part of the school.
That's good.
There's also a few of us on the board that are going to be going to the National School Board meeting in San Antonio this weekend into Monday. So hopefully we'll have some things to report back. Okay. Committee of the Whole update, that actually is me. We had a Committee of the Whole meeting on March 7th at 5 o'clock. At that meeting, the architects presented revised proposed facility designs based on input from board members previously. The principals were also present at that meeting and offered detailed input on the designs, not just for their own school, but just for all of the schools. There was a lengthy discussion about the designs and some of the funding options. Following revisions, the designs and the funding options will be presented to the community task force at meetings that are coming up this spring. The meeting was adjourned at 7:12. Okay. Finance committee update?
Education.
Oh, sorry, education, sorry. That's okay.
The education meeting was held on March 19th, meeting at 4 p.m. Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Innovation, Mr. Sean Mesmer, updated us on numerous items, including the first was a foreign language. Italian is going to be discontinued at Maine East and Maine West due to lack of enrollment. It will continue at Maine South, and students who are at East or West who want to take Italian can take it at Maine South. The Newman Student Information System, Mr. Mesmer also updated us on that. Infinite Campus was chosen to replace Aspen, and we were given some details about that. Sean Mesmer also gave us updates on the career pathways update. There's another meeting, I believe, this week on that, when the team is working on slating classes that kids are interested in. The goal is to have completed by the end of the year, including career coordinators will travel to Soberton, Pennsylvania to see how this work's being done. And when he's finished, Mr. Mesmer will give education committee demonstration. I think at some point, maybe we'll share it with the board, so we'll talk about that in our next education meeting. On first reading for tonight are the new textbooks for 2018-2019. So Sean will be talking about that later. And then finally, the majority of the meeting was spent on policy review, similar to the finance policies and other policies within the board. The education committee has taken a lengthy review of all education-related policies, and we're in the process again of converting all the policies to the IASB's press policy series. Sean and Ginny, and I don't know if Mary was involved in that at all, but I know Sean has spent an inordinate amount of time going through, Sean Mesmer, going through, and the other Sean went through the finance ones, but Sean Mesmer and Mary gone through that, but going through all the details, really trying to make sure that they're in order, that if there's old policies that are not part of press, but should still remain with us, that those are included. So in the group, the education committee really spent a lot of time preparing ahead of time, and then also going through them. We got about halfway through, and then we're going to complete that review, so we're really versed in all the changes and the exact policies at that meeting. And so the meeting is adjourned at 5:07.
Now, finance.
Finance committee met on March 22nd. It was called to order 5 o'clock. All three members, best including myself, were present. Our first topic was the policies. They said that continue to get draft and bring these from all the work they did. Bring us to look at the express policies. It was a yeoman's task that we wanted to tackle. We got started. I think where we're at. Thank you. Next item we discussed was the MD Live, which is an amazing service that we're able to offer to our faculty and staff. We discussed a 403 due diligence report, wellness screens. We're going back to wellnessing, whose name is now what, Mary?
Empower Health Solutions.
And we discussed Skyward software renewal, with an annual cost of $36,138, return of $531.
Thank you, Sean. Buildings and Grounds Committee update.
Yes, thank you. We also had a meeting on March 22nd, committee meeting. All the members were present, myself, Member Terry Collins, and also Member Sean Sullivan was there. We had about 7 items that was on the table that we had for a discussion. First of all, a fire alarm replacement project bid at the south. Few years, several problems with the alarm systems that we had. Parts were no longer available. Engineers have designed new systems and was able to go with the facility plans. Bids were open and were submitted. The lowest responsible bidder was Contact NSI Company. The project will begin in May 26th. Will finish before first day of school. Second item was site improvement 2018 bid. The bid went out. 3 bids were received for Main East, South, and 4 were received for the West for various paving projects in each of the buildings. Lowest responsible bidder is Chicagoland paving for the east, and also, let's see, this includes a lot of the drive as well as resurface of the tennis court. And then the lowest bidder for south is a land concrete, and also lowest bidder for the west is from Arrow Road Construction. And then item 3, waste and recycling service bid. There were 3 bids were received for the waste and recycling services. The current contract expires in June. West Waste Management is the district's current provider and also a lowest bidder. Administration recommend awarding a 5-year contract to the waste management for year 1 and a 3% annual escalations. Money is also saved having the compactor already in place. Fourth item, fertilizer and turf protection application bid. District was approached by the group in Park Ridge to apply environmentally friendly products to our ground in an effort to reduce pesticides and toxic chemicals. The current law provider is Eternity Green Lawn Care, and we are waiting for their report on pesticides used. And if not satisfied, the next low bidder will be True Green. The board will be updated when the final vendor will be chosen. The fifth item, capital outlay 2018 through 2019. Administration is increasing the allocation for 2018-19 due to a needs of several larger items, including cafeteria tables for increased capacity and additional minibus for each school to help lower bus costs and a final year of musical instrument replacement at South. Each building's allocation were reduced to X amount to help offset the cost of the large purchases. Next, printing service bid. The important element of the district community engagement process is distributing the information to our residents. There are approximately 45,000 households with registered voters living in our boundaries. 3 separate mailings will be sent, including an informational letter, the color brochure, survey with return postage envelope. 2 bids were received with the lowest bidder being PRF Graphics in the amount of $15,096.40. School review was completed, and 4 references have been checked with positive feedback. PRF Graphics understands the school and also deadlines. The last summer 2018 projects. This includes cafeteria renovation and concession stands sanitary. These were supposed to open earlier in March, but the contractors had difficulty getting kitchen equipment price. So the bidder was open on March 26th. Bid results has been sent to board members following school reviews, and the contract will be brought to the today's board meeting. So all this discussion at this meeting will be brought to today's board meeting for approval.
Okay, moving on to the status of finances, Mary?
In your board packet is the February financial statements. We are 66.67% of the year complete as of February. The budgets, both on revenue and expenditure side, are in line with the budgets. On the revenue side, we will see a small spike because the state is finally caught up from those late payments that have been sending out for a couple of months. But other than that, there are no unusual items to report. I will entertain any questions that anybody has on the February financial statements.
So if they paid everything, the state has paid everything?
They paid everything from last year, which was over $1 million.
And nothing this year?
This year, they're on time with their payments, which is concerning because as we get closer to the end of the year and they run out of money, I don't know what that means. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we will see about $1 million in additional state funding this year simply because of the timing of them paying us last year's month.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mary. Instructional services, John?
Nothing else.
Ken, FOIA requests, update?
Two this month, both of which have been responded to.
Okay. Textbooks, this is the first reading?
First reading, the textbook list there is a little bit updated since our ed committee meeting. There are not a ton of books on the list. Most of them are either for new courses that have been approved by the board, or they're replacement items in existing books. As we kind of update and choose new things as students move through our curriculum. A question was asked at the last ed committee meeting, I thought I would just comment on, which is what percentage of our books are now electronic? We're at about 68%. We still have a little bit of ways that we can go. However, as sort of a limited number, only because there are some books, a lot of the AP books are college textbooks which haven't moved in that direction yet. Dual credit, dual enrollment hasn't gotten there yet. And a lot of our special ed books or ELL books are actually still in hardback for very good reasons for the students to engage with. So we'll never be at 100%, but we are kind of creeping up there quite a bit. I was pleasantly surprised. It's a higher number than I should have.
And we put an emphasis on that going all the way back to really when we were, in fact, I'll remind the board, most of whom weren't here when this decision was made, we would have gone one-to-one 2 or 3 years earlier than we actually went one-to-one. The tipping point for us, because of the way that our books are bought, was when Pearson lowered its ebook prices. The year before, and frankly, the 5 years before that, the ebook prices were, if a textbook was 120, the ebook price was 120. So the addition of the device actually would have cost our families more money. When Pearson changed their strategy and lowered their ebook prices to $10, $12, $15, it allowed us to buy the devices and model saving money. Now that we're approaching 70%, I'd say our early projections that we did, you remember the ones Hank did, Sean was on the board, and I think you might have been on the board too. I would bet that we're surpassing the projections, and it was like, $1,000 over 4 years per student. It was a big number. So that's pretty remarkable, but we made a concerted effort to actually do that. I'd be interested to know how many districts are higher than that 68% benchmark for ebooks. There can't be many for the reasons that Sean outlined, because there are just some books that frankly, are going to be slow to change. Although I predict in the next 5 years that there's going to be a move away from College Board AP and probably a move toward dual credits if certain things happen, particularly in the state of Illinois and other states on that front. So
And this saves the district money too.
Saves it,
because of all the
absolutely. We are the
books that
number
we
one
buy.
buyer of books and devices in the district. It absolutely does save the district money.
Sean, thank you for looking at that percentage. I think that's a number to be worked on, so I'm happy with that.
68.1. Hey, that's cool.
Is that right?
I just said 60%, but that's okay.
We're a little
I could be-
Okay.
He's a social science guy.
It's about 68. So
About
we got
68.
70.
Yeah,
Okay,
about 70.
all right, thank you very much. So that's first reading tonight on those textbooks. Policies and procedures, Board of Ed policies and procedures. First reading, Mary?
Yes, we are doing the first reading on deleting 32 policies. These policies are covered under policies that the board adopted in February as they moved the majority of the operational service policies to the Disney Press policies with some modifications. So we provided a list of not only the policies that we were deleting, but cross-reference onto the policies that they were covered that were adopted in February. This information is presented for first reading this evening.
All right. So if you haven't had a chance to look these over, please do, and you can follow up with any questions, Mary, and maybe voting on them finally at the next meeting. Okay, I have a motion on the consent agenda, items 9A through H.
Second.
Jenny, would you take the roll, please?
Austriaco?
Aye.
Bessler? Collins?
Aye.
Coyle?
Lee?
I think I'll stand on 9A, because I was in the room myself, otherwise, I'll just leave this.
Sullivan?
And Owen. Aye. Okay. I have a motion on item 10, capital outlay.
This information was discussed at the Buildings and Grounds Committee. It is a comprehensive list, and we're including holders for cafeteria tables, new minibuses. We're starting a 2-year replacement of the automatic electronic defibrillators because they have reached their useful life. We're in the 3rd and final year of the instrument replacement cycle for Maine South, and then unfortunately, because of all those items, we had to reduce the building allocations this year only to 20,000 from the 75,000 that they're used to.
Any questions, comments?
Questions on line item L, Tyler Lane Construction, 2018 summer project. I know we have,
We're on 10, capital outlay.
Capital outlay.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. Please take the vote. Sullivan? Lee? Coyle? Collins? Bessler? Austriaco? Owen? Aye. Okay, we have a motion on item 11. We should maybe take these one at a time. Yeah, let's go, because we've got a few people to go through, maybe we'll lump Mary's together. Sean, we'll start on 11A, please.
Sure.
Well, no, we need a motion.
Okay,
first.
sorry.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
So Naviance College and Career Resource Services, that is if you had your child's in school or they've gone through school, it's a service that each student subscribes to and is used by our college and career offices to help students look up information related to post-secondary options. Our contract is up, so this is just a renewal for 2 years of the contract we currently have.
All right. Any questions? Judy, take the roll. Coyle? Bessler? Lee?
this is the one that, number 11 and whatever?
This is A.
Okay, yes.
Austriaco? Sullivan? Collins? Owen? Aye. Okay. Why don't we go ahead and make a motion for B through O, and then Mary can go through them and you can ask questions.
Okay, B is for the fire alarm replacement for Maine South. We received 4 bids. The low bidder is contact MSI. They've been thoroughly scope reviewed, so our recommendation is awarding that contract in the amount of $924,000 to them. C is for the site improvements at Maine East, which includes both parking lots and tennis courts. Chicagoland Paving was the low bidder, 3 bids were received. We're recommending awarding the contract to Chicagoland Paving in the amount of $722,400. A-Lamp Concrete was the low bidder for the site work improvements at Maine South, which includes extensive tennis court reworking as well as some pavings. We're recommending awarding them the contract in the amount of $1,233,547.50. At Maine West for site improvements, which is just paving, because last year they got it done, so it's redone. Arrow Road Construction was the low bidder. Maine West received 4 bids, and we're recommending Arrow Road Construction the amount of $178,657. F is the Waste and Recycling Services bid. We received 3 bids for it. The low bidder was Waste Management, who is our current provider, so we are recommending a 5-year contract. Year 1 would be for $30,812.40. Years 2 through 5 has a 3% escalator. For G, we have now scope reviewed and got confirmation that the chemical makeup for Eternal Green Lawn Care meets the needs of the more environmentally friendly products. So we are recommending a 1-year contract with them for $51,450. There was a request made at Buildings and Grounds to get some additional information from 64 and the Park District. The Park District is using a different approach, which I don't feel we can use because it involves letting fields rest and growing the lawn to greater than 3 inches. and allowing them to go through a process which could take several years. But our green space is also our competition space. So we have to maintain it not only as green space, but in a competition-safe manner, which is why we felt that we would have to continue to provide some lawn treatment, because we don't have 3 years to let the lawn rest and grow to bushes and not play in it. So that's why we're taking that approach, and you can see that's why it's costing us slightly more money with the more friendly chemicals or non-chemicals in our lawn treatment. Item I is for the wellness screenings that we do.
Go back to H, yeah.
Sorry, MD Live and Member Services. So we're recommending 2 programs. First is MD Live, which will allow our employees or anyone on our insurance currently on the PPO. This is not an HMO option, unfortunately, because of the capitation fees provided to doctors in an HMO. They will now have 24/7 access to a doctor via the phone lines or a video chat for minor doctor visits. It's a cheaper price, so we believe that this will save not only the employees' money, but the district money as well. And then Member Services is a program that allows the employees to, if they register and then decide to have optional treatments like an MRI at a low-cost provider, they're able to share in part of the savings that are generated from making that selection to a lower-cost provider. So it's called Member Rewards. I is the wellness screening. We do a comprehensive blood draw during final exams. And Power Health Services was the lowest responsible bidder because the lowest bidder was only doing a 10-panel blood test, and that is not a comprehensive test. 36 or greater is what we've been traditionally used to. The cost of that is $76 per participant. Item J is the Skyward Software Human Resources Finance Renewal. We are recommending a 3-year contract extension at an annual cost of $36,138. I showed you the cost. If we were to change providers, we would have about a $100,000 implementation fee the first year. We were very happy with Skyward. We finally understand Skyward after several years, so we're recommending continuing with them for a 3-year period. K is the bid for print services. We received 2 bids. We scope reviewed PRF Graphics and are confident that they can provide the printing services that we need for $15,096.40. Finally, item L is Tyler Lane Construction. They're doing a host of projects that we're calling the 2018 summer projects. It includes the cafeteria work at the 3 schools, some plumbing stand and concession stand upgrades at Maine South, and some classroom renovation work at Maine South and Maine West. We received only 1 bid. During scope review, they were thoroughly scope reviewed, and we should point out that this bid was within budget, so we do believe that it is a good number. That bid was for $2,196,262. So our recommendation is to award the bid to Tyler Lane Construction Inc. We should point out, and we think that now that the economy has gotten better, we're probably going to need to push up our time frame for bidding, which unfortunately means that we'll probably start planning for summer projects in September or October, rather than the November that the board has traditionally seen them, because we heard back from several of the bidders that we would have liked to see participate, that they were full by February.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, are there any questions?
Questions on that L, Tyler Lane Construction, fully explained by Mary, but my concern is that since we only got a 1 bid for this almost $2.2 million project, and should we need to encourage and somehow get the pre-bid participants, because there were 4 attendees, but there's only 1 bid, so that was quite kind of surprising. And can you not need to encourage maybe additional contractors to participate and encourage them to participate this meeting?
That's kind of why we think we need to move move up our time frame is because unlike, now that the economy has gotten better and construction has picked up, while in previous years at bidding at this time, you would have gotten several bids, many companies, their summer timeframe was already full. So that's why next year we'll be bringing them earlier, which will encourage more bidders to participate. And I know, but it was one of the reasons that I had White here this evening is because it is unusual for us to only see one bid.
But it was within budget.
It was within budget, and that was kind of our primary concern, is to go through. The first thing we did with one bid is to go through and do a thorough scope review and compare the budget to the bid to make sure that everything was covered.
Additionally, one of the bidders was waiting for a phone call, but didn't get it to put his number in before the bid was due. There would have been 2 bids had he gotten them. They wait for the last minute to get some prices to get into their sheets.
I don't know how people feel, but is it a timeline is crucial that we have to be with this, or can we not able to spend maybe a month or 2 additional time to open to encourage the other potential contract to be participated?
The vast majority of these bids are for the cafeteria renovations, which have to be done by the start of the school year. So,
The time crunch is critical.
the time crunch is critical, and I think, given the fact that the reason we are hearing from contractors is that we're only getting one bid is because they're getting filled up, we then also run the risk that this contractor also then bids on another project.
And we don't have any
And
bidders.
now we have no bids.
So that's what we're trying to address by bids
changing our
next
time
year,
for
is
next year.
to avoid this by asking for bids early.
We're also potentially looking at maybe, did we put, should we pull out maybe plumbing and done so that maybe there was not so many subs required for some of these. So there's a number of things that we're gonna look at for next year.
This is understandable, but is there any particular reason you think why the other 3 additional participants were not able to provide proper bidding for this situation, that they are kind of locked out?
We talked, excuse me, we talked to each of the bidders, and as Rick mentioned, there was one bidder actually there, a second bidder at the bid opening, hoping to get his number in time for one sub, and write it in. He did not get that number in time. There was a third bidder who intended to bid, did show up at the bid opening, but he also reported that he did not get a price from a couple of key subs. And then the last of the 4 bidders, who was a few days before the bid opening, intended to bid, just decided it was a little bit too big of a project for him and decided not to bid. The successful bidder also indicated that they had to do some extra work to get their sub pricing because it was a busy year.
So why, and also, you guys feel definitely comfortable recommending Tyler Lane Construction in this particular situation?
Yes.
I had a question on the lawn care, the 1 year. So we're gonna kind of see how it's going.
We're gonna see how it's going, and then we'll.
And then evaluate it again at the end.
Yes.
Our problem with our fields is not necessarily the weeds, it's not necessarily control, it's deeper than that. The fields we have here at South are totally different than the ones we have at West. Their practice fields at West, and I'm sure it's because Audrey's out there grooming them every day.
Same thing, Beast.
Are gorgeous.
Audrey's a
And
Audrey was better on your part.
But he's.
Good job, Mike. But their practice fields are better than our original football field, our playing football field, which is one of the reasons we had to switch to turf.
Correct, and I use this as an opportunity to once again point out that Maine South has our highest number of students and athletic participants and our smallest acreage by 10 acres. So that makes fields get beat up.
We did used to own all the homes over Broadway on Hamlin. board wishes to apply those paths and green space. We can-
All right, that's.
I was thinking a more versatile design structure in the fields.
Yeah.
Might be able to go 24/7 without the same
Well, and that's been discussed.
chemical dependency.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Any other questions on any of the items? Okay, Arna, thank you again, Mary, and would you please take your roll?
Austriaco?
Aye.
Collins? Lee? Coyle? Bessler? Sullivan?
No on K, and I am the rest of BUL.
And Owen.
Aye. Okay, could I have a motion on item 12, summer hours for special ed and ESL department chairs? Thank you. Sean?
So this request we put through each year, and basically what this enables us to do is service students who are coming into the district either knowingly or those who move in over the summer who have a special need, which require IEP meetings or special testing. So we typically allot this amount of time, up to a maximum point, for our chairs to handle that testing process for those students.
Any questions? We do this every year.
Every year. And the other one, ESL, is, that's students with second language needs to evaluations. So these are just evaluations as needed.
There's any questions? Would you take the roll?
Sullivan? Collins? Bessler? Lee? Coyle? Austriaco? Owen.
Aye. Could I have a motion on item 13, use of facilities?
Second.
Okay. This is our annual request from the city for fireworks. Is there anything we need to know about this? or-
I would like to know that we actually, we do this annually, and in addition to this, we recently had a meeting where Mike was present, Ben was present. The Park Ridge Orchestra has its 25th anniversary season coming up next year, and they did not have a home. The Pickwick Theater is adding an IMAX theater, so they're not going to have room on the stage. So the mayor of Park Ridge sent them to us to see if we could find them a home, and we did. Thanks to the work of Mike and Ben, we're going to accommodate them for the 25th season. But I had a really nice conversation with the Park Ridge mayor about a week ago, just about the many, many ways that we waive fees for community members in Park Ridge. The fireworks display being the chief example of that, and looking at some things that have changed over the last 3 or 4 years in water and fees for buildings that have changed with the city and the mayor. I think we had a nice conversation about looking at ways to offset some of the costs that the district has incurred. So I'm recommending that we do what we do every year and obviously pass the fireworks display for the 4th of July. There was a little concern that because of some of the construction, but we think we can work around that.
What about the other needs of our district that we were discussing?
We have some meetings coming up set to talk about those.
So should we table this matter until you handle those meetings?
I would, given that we didn't do this in March, getting a chance to talk to the mayor, my advice would be to go ahead and pass it tonight and continue to talk and see if we can get some movement made. I think it's a little late on their end if we don't go ahead and get it passed for them to get all the logistics done for the July event.
What the orchestra, when is that?
There'll be an event or two in the fall and an event or two in the spring. We're working those logistics out.
4 concerts in the past, they said they could live with 3, but we're gonna try to give them 4 dates.
And they'll be at Mamie's?
And
We'll
south.
check and see
Okay.
what that looks like between the availability, sort of that matches up where they would like to have concerts. Traditionally, they've been Wednesday night concerts, because that was the least expensive time that Dino would charge them at the Pickwick. Whereas weeknights are a non-starter for us, because it closes kids out of facilities when we have
And they might like
rehearsals.
having them on the weekend.
So, back to the weekend, yeah, Sundays will work out pretty ideally for everybody.
For the crowd,
Yeah.
it's preferable. You were gonna say something again?
Yes.
Well, let's
No,
just.
I wasn't going to, but I'm assuming that we are by this action authorizing you to enter into an agreement, so therefore, if you don't think the agreement's in the best interest of the district, I'm assuming you're gonna come back here.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Very good. questions?
Bessler. Coyle. Lee. Sullivan. Austriaco. Collins. Owen.
Aye. Calendar items. The meeting on April 9th is canceled. We have that. We have our standing dates, those are still good, I'm assuming. Okay. Next regular meeting is May 7th. National Teacher Appreciation Week, it's coming up in May 7th through 11th. Is there anything else? We also have commencement on May 20th for all 3 schools. And that's it, I don't have anything else. Anybody have anything to add? Okay, are there any other communications or public comments? All right.
Before we go to action, can I just make a revised question? I think I overlooked it, I'm sorry, but I think item number 10, capital outlay, I think that says abstain, but this may be the L.
Yes, oh, okay. Okay. Okay, can I have a motion to go into closed session for purposes of review of closed session minutes, appointment of women, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, probable imminent or pending litigation, and collective negotiating matters.
Austriaco. Bessler. Collins. Coyle. Lee. Sullivan. Owen.
Aye. Okay. Going into closed session.